All right. How we doing, guys? We are live. This is going to be the last live stream I'm going to do as part of my Sub 230 Marathon series. Today is Sunday, the 26th of January. Again, 1 week out from the race attempt, so not going to be able to go live next week during the race. Unless if I did it like after the race or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to have like a full video and whatnot. So that's going to probably be my plan with next Sunday. Don't think I'll be going live. So anyway, this being the last week before the race, just going to follow the same live stream structure, go through the past week of training, talk about how each day went, show you Strava, show you the training calendar, and then kind of just go more into my plans this next week, how I'm going to continue to taper off. It's like the true taper time now. So going to have a little bit of a discussion on that. Not going to keep you guys too long today. I realize I'm putting this right in between the Commanders and Eagles games and then the Bills and Chiefs games. So unfortunately, my Washington Commanders were not able to come out on top. I think the game is finishing up right now. But, the Eagles went ahead and spanked them pretty good, so that was unfortunate. But, hey, we got hope for the Bills to win against Kansas City tonight because no one wants to see Kansas City make it to another Super Bowl. So, with that being said, let's hop into the training plan here. Going to make this one a little bit quicker. And as usual, at the end, I'll answer any questions or address any comments in the chat, that sort of thing. Would like to probably have a hard cutoff by 7 p.m. That is the plan right now, but we'll see. If I get kept longer, I get kept longer. It is what it is. So today, got the plan pulled up for one last time. Today is the 26th, so we just finished up the week of the 19th through the 25th. And this was the first week of my quote-unquote taper. Now, kind of how I had this structured was throughout the most of my marathon training, I was hitting anywhere from like 74 to 77 mile weeks pretty much every week. If you go back to December, 75, 74, 76, 75. All around that range. I didn't really have any like down weeks, and that I'm not saying that's the way you should do your marathon training, but that's what worked for me in this build and allowed me to just build fitness on fitness and get used to the high mileage. And now I'm finally tapering back. So my first taper week, I really started the taper 2 weeks out from the race. So the first week I went down to 66 miles, and I'm going to be discussing that first week today. So 66 down from 75, that's about a 10% to 15% decrease, right around there. I've read that around a 20 to 30% decrease is what might be more common for other marathon runners. I just think that I didn't need to taper quite that aggressively. I've gotten used to the higher mileage. Maybe that'll come back to bite me in the foot, but especially with how the week finished up, which I'll get to. But long story short, 66 miles for this week, which was the lowest mileage I've run since the end of November. So felt pretty, light for the most part, not having to put in a ton of mileage, but let's take it from the top here. You know how the week started. The 19th of January, that Sunday was an off day, right? No running on Sundays. That's how it's been since November. The 20th, right? 11 miles easy on the treadmill. Again, weather's been pretty crappy. I just wanted to keep my easy runs on the treadmill this week because, like I said, I was talking about it briefly last week. I didn't want to risk like slipping and falling on ice for the most part. I didn't want to be out there in the sub-zero temperatures. This past week was really bad. It was like negative. I think it was like a negative 25-degree wind chill on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I did get outside one day this week. Well, actually 2 days this week. I did get outside for a workout, which I'll get into. But I definitely did not want to be out too much and didn't want to risk doing anything stupid. So for the most part, I opted for the treadmill, especially on the easy days. So 11 miles easy on Monday, 7:30 pace. Nothing crazy to really see on Strava there, as with pretty much all of the treadmill manual. Well, they're not manual entries, but treadmill entries are boring. I know. They're just kind of like whatever. I guess you can see my heart rate and kind of my estimated pace and whatnot. Real quick, Jaguar. I don't use any running coach apps. I am pretty much my own coach when it comes to this. So, but anyhow, I do use like the Coros treadmill mode, and it's honestly not too bad as far as accuracy. It definitely is off a little bit, so I have to recalibrate it at the end of the session. So, but yeah, that's how we started. Ohio State, we won the national championship this day. Just got to give a quick shout out to my Bucks, best team in the country. Heck of a game, heck of a college playoffs, really. Figured we'd take the dub, but that was good to see. So at least Ohio has one good football team. Don't want to talk about the Browns right now. I digress there. But quick, easy, 11 miles in and out. Monday, that's how it went. Felt solid. Was glad to get the Monday off of the plate. A lot of times Mondays are tough with work. Mondays can be stressful. You got a lot on your plate at the start of the week, but you got to just knock them out, Get in, get out, get all your work done, get a good start to the week. So that's exactly how it started. Now, Tuesday. Again, I mentioned this last week. I'd been doing most of my hard, faster workouts on Tuesday. And for the past 2 weeks, that is not what I did. I actually opted to move both of these workouts, the one on the 14th, which was last week, I moved to the 15th, and then this past week, the one on the 21st, I ended up moving to the 22nd. So all this to say, I did another easy run on Tuesday, another just treadmill run. This was the coldest day of the year by far. It was literally 0 degrees outside, and that's not even with wind chill or anything. It was a legit 0 degrees. With wind chill, it was like minus 22 or minus 25, something like that. So I was not about to go outside in that. It just would have been stupid. I saw some people on Strava in the area who were going outside. I'm like, y'all are nuts. Like I'm not gonna do that. If I was running a workout, I would consider it because it is important to get some of your workouts outside, especially if you're doing a winter marathon like I am, where there's potential to be pretty cold weather. But I actually looking into the future, like not that I can see the future or anything, but looking at the weather forecast in Columbus for next Sunday, which is when my race is, the weather's actually looking pretty decent. It's looking like it will be in around the 30s, maybe high 20s for a low 30s around there, and it might actually get up to 40 degrees by later in the day, which I never thought I'd ever say this in my life. That sounds pretty hot. 40 degrees, 42 degrees, like, man, that would be like beach in Florida temperatures comparatively to what we're experiencing now. Today actually wasn't that bad in Northeast Ohio. It did get up to about 31, 32 degrees and a little sunny, so that felt pretty nice. But 10 easy on the mill Tuesday. Again, nothing too much to see on Strava. 7:18 pace, sped it up a little bit at the end, but moved that workout to Wednesday. So Wednesday, the workout ended up being, and this is really the last hard workout before we, really started to taper it back. So this week was a taper week, but really it was getting over the Wednesday hump to get this workout done and then kind of just coasting it in with another little small up-tempo effort on Saturday, as I'll get into. And then, obviously this week going forward is just really chill. Just one light marathon pace run and then just all easy runs from there. But before jumping the gun too much, the workout on Wednesday was 2x3 mile, 12 miles in total. And I opted to do this one outside, which may have not been the best decision. But like I said, you got to get some of these workouts in outside if your marathon is going to be outside, which it is. I'm not running the marathon on a treadmill. I had been on the treadmill the previous 2 days. I was antsy to get outside. I wanted to touch the actual ground. I didn't want to be pushing off the freaking treadmill belt all week. The problem was it was like, I think 9 degrees without wind chill, and with wind chill it was below 0. So I was a little bit like, this is going to suck kind of thing during the day. But hey, I sacked up. I got out there. I had my tights on. I had like 2 layers of shirt and then my windbreaker, hat, gloves. Had like the ski mask, baklava mask, balaclava, whatever it's called, on. So double socks, all that good stuff. And I was able to stay warm. But to look more at how the workout went, it went really, really freaking good. Like I said, 2x3 mile. The reps were 15:38 and then 15, and then a 1 mile jog in between the 2 sets, or the 2 3-mile reps or sets, whatever you want to say. 15:38, 1 mile jog in 7:13, and then 15:22. And these are for 3-mile reps again. So to pull it up on Strava, it was like, wind chill under 0 degrees. It was in the negatives, and I was still able to run this fast for the workout, which is pretty impressive. Now, I noticed, I noted it in the plan here, felt like crap on the first set, weirdly solid on the second set. And that was the case. When I went out for this workout, and I'll show you the splits here in a second, but I went out and I was just like not feeling the best. Like I went out pretty hard. I was breaking in my new pair of Vaporfly 3s that I'm going to do my racing in. And, sometimes that first time you put on a new pair of shoes, like it feels good, but you kind of got to like work into them a little bit. So the first mile of that 3-mile rep, I kind of felt a little bit like I was breathing heavy. My legs were felt a little weird, but I worked into it well. And I actually went out the first mile of this workout in a 5:11, which was way faster than I was planning on going. I was thinking I'd maybe run 5:20 or barely sub 5:20. So went out a lot faster, slowed down on the second mile of that set there with a 5:17, and then closed in a 5:10 on that set. And I kind of felt better as this workout went on. Even in the first rep, the 5:11 at the start was the hardest mile of, one of the hardest miles of the entire workout. So 15:38 there for 3 miles. I mean, if you think about it, that's like 16:09 5K pace for the first rep there. But 1 mile jog in between, 7:11, and I decided to. So funny story here. In between sets there, I noticed that on the first set, wearing the long tights was kind of somewhat impacting my ability to get full range of motion in my legs, right? And so my, brilliant brain was like, oh, we'll just take off the long tights and roll in the half tights in -3 degree wind chill, whatever it was. And so I started the second set with no full tights on, just the half tights, thinking, I'll be all fine and dandy. And I did have more range of motion, but let me just tell you, I don't know how many females are in the chat right now, or I don't know how exactly I can figure out that information, but let's just say that we almost ran into some serious problems in the cold. So make sure you're wearing your third sock if you need to, and make sure you're covering up all your important areas is all I'm going to say there. But we got through it okay. So went out in actually a 5:06 for this second 3-mile rep, and then came back with a 5:12. And this middle rep was actually slightly uphill. This whole course I'm doing is you go up almost a 50-foot hill. You get as low as, you get as low as 735, and you get as high as 785. So that's basically a 50-foot hill there. So it's not a completely flat course. The second mile, the way I was doing it, was uphill, 36-foot net gain. So not chump change there, exactly. So 5:12 up that hill, that's still pretty impressive. And then closed in a 5:04, and I was definitely really pushing by the end, but I wanted it to be a hard, shorter sort of workout here. It wasn't a ton of miles, but I was getting them in fast, right? And that's the whole idea of this taper workout. You certainly don't want to add mileage to your workouts. You honestly want to cut maybe a little mileage back, but keep that intensity, right? That is sort of the whole idea, or at least my idea, with the reason behind I had why I had this workout this week. So got through it. Did not lose any appendages. I don't even know how to say that word. I was okay. Nothing froze off is what I'm trying to say. And guys, it dawned on me that I literally, so my college PR in the 5K is 15:43. And I low-key could have ran that fast in this freaking workout if I wanted to. Like 15:22 for the second 3-mile set here. That's like a 15:52 or 15:53 5K. So I remember thinking like mid-rep, like after this 5:06, I was like, I felt good after this 5:06 low-key. In the 5:12, I slowed down a little bit, but like I kind of did it on purpose a little because I knew I had this hill and everything, and I didn't want to try to be a superhero and PR in the 5K and a taper workout, right? But I remember thinking to myself, if I had to, I could PR in the 5K. And again, my PR is 15:43 from college, which I don't know if that's a sad thing that I'm able to do that or if it's impressive. But I just think, I'm in low-key the best shape of my life right now, even for the 5K. So anything under 5K, I don't know. I was definitely faster in college just with all the more speed training and stuff. But it was very interesting to see that I could literally almost PR in the 5K in this workout. The second set, nonetheless. So that's how that went. One last hard workout. I was happy I got it in, and it definitely boosted the confidence just kind of going into this next week and a half before my race. So that was Wednesday. Thursday and Friday were both easy treadmill days, 10 miles easy. These went pretty well. Not really too much to comment on here. I think I ended up speeding up a little bit in these runs just at the end. I honestly felt like a little bit antsy in some of these. And by the way, with some comments coming in and whatnot, I am going to address pretty much everything at the end of the stream once I get through my just sort of training outline of the past week. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll get along to them at the end of the stream. So again, 10 miles easy for both days, 7:26 and 7:19 pace. Not too much to comment on here. The only difference with this week is that I'm sort of just cutting back. Instead of doing 11 or 12 for the easy, I'm just doing 10. So that was the only difference there. Honestly, went a little bit faster than I've traditionally done for some recovery days. A lot of times I just like to keep it right at 7:30. These I was kind of getting a little antsy, and maybe my treadmill runs a little slow, and I felt like I was moving a little slow, and I wanted to pick up the pace a little bit. So who knows? Maybe it was in reality closer to 7:30 pace, but whatever. It's an easy run. So point is, it was easy. So now we get into this LR, which was yesterday, actually at noon here. The whole plan for this was a 13-mile long run with 5 of those miles somewhere in the middle I have it at marathon pace. I kind of just decided, though, the day of that I would do just kind of tempo, whatever, how I was feeling. And a couple things with this run, honestly, I didn't feel that good at all, like the entire run. Like the first, I ended up doing 6 miles warm up or whatever, 5 miles at tempo, and then 2 miles down. That adds up to 13. And I felt pretty much like complete crap from the get-go, which, might be a little concerning if it was just a random kind of thing that popped up. But, I had a really tough workout on Wednesday, and I maybe went a little bit too fast on Thursday and Friday, and it was just a long week at work, too, and maybe I had Chipotle the night before this, and, if you've seen some of my other videos, as you know, Chipotle isn't maybe the best pre-race or pre-run night before fuel, so that could have worked into it too. But I didn't feel that great, and another thing too is I rarely do these fatigued. Not that 6-mile warm up is major fatigue, but normally when I do these tempos and whatnot, I kind of just do a 2-mile warm up and then I get the workout in. So for this, it was a little interesting having a 6-mile up and then getting into the tempo miles. But I say it was a harder sort of workout, or I didn't feel great, but I didn't feel awful. It wasn't like I was dying on this. I ran, 5:38, 5:40, a couple 5:35s, and a 5:29. And I ran this in trainers. I was wearing the ASICS Nova Blast 3s. But the takeaway here, guys, is you don't always feel perfect during your taper. And that's the whole reason why you taper. Marathon training is very hard. I've stacked up a crap ton of miles on my legs for the past 10 weeks. And this taper week for me, it's still 65 miles, 66 miles. It's not this upcoming week where I'm really, really cutting it back. So it's kind of expected that I'm still going to be fatigued just from this whole marathon training cycle, and especially getting that hard workout in on Wednesday. Now, I will, be very regretful if I overdid it in the taper. And I guess we won't know till race day, but there is a chance maybe I overdid it with the workout a little bit. Maybe I should have only done a few tempo miles here, but I'm not going to nitpick at little things. I know what kind of shape I'm in. I know you can have off days, especially with taper workouts and whatnot. So I have experience with the taper weeks in the past. I know how they feel. This isn't super alarming. It is what it is. Also, I twisted my freaking knee during the cool down on this run. It was like at the very end, I stepped in a pothole and I twisted my knee, and so my knee kind of hurt yesterday. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried at all. I already feel like I'm fine. But that was super annoying. It was like, really? At the end of the run, too? Like, I did this whole workout, and at least have me twist my knee don't have me twist my knee at all, but it was just annoying how it happened at the end. So anyhow, that was yesterday. And so today, like I said, being Friday, or it's not Friday, I wish. It's Sunday. I did not run, so had a nice relaxing day today. Just kind of chillaxed, went to church, watched some football. Still got more to watch here. I realize the Bills are probably in the first quarter right now, so definitely want to get to that game to watch. Still got to eat dinner tonight. And really this next week, guys, it's about embracing the taper. Just a quick prelude to what I got coming up. 10 miles easy tomorrow. An 8-miler. I might even cut this back even more depending on how I'm feeling. Last little taper workout on Wednesday, just 3 to 4 miles at marathon pace with some strides maybe. And then 8 miles, could even be less, 6 miles. That's Friday. The race is Sunday. And then just shake out on Saturday if I need it. And then 26.2 on Sunday. So that's the plan going forward as far as running. Now with like nutrition and with rest and whatnot, those two variables are going to be very important for me. So I'm going to be carb loading a little bit. I already eat a crap ton of carbs as it is, so I'm not like really I'm not super strict about my carb loading and whatnot, but I'll be conscious of getting in plenty of carbohydrates from basically Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe even start on Wednesday. And then just making sure I'm sleeping a ton this week and getting the best sleep that I can this week, because it's very hard to sleep the night or even 2 nights before the race. So it's very important that you get in plenty of sleep that whole week leading up to your race. So the sleep I get tonight, tomorrow, the next day, that's going to be very important as to how I'm feeling come a week from today. So I'm definitely hoping to kind of just relax this week, focus on work, distract myself a little bit, and, eat a ton of good food, get my final runs in, maybe take a hot bath every other night, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just really relax and kind of enjoy the hard work, because it's going to pay off here. And really, it's at this point in the taper, I found that as much as you can get your head off of the actual race and like the nerves and stuff, the better. So if that's reading a book, watching a movie, just painting, like building a Lego, doing something like that, like whatever you can do to get your head away from thinking about the race, the better. So that's what I'm going to be try to be doing. I do tend to always be like overthinking things, overanalyzing things, so maybe I'll struggle with it a little bit, but I'm not really nervous at all at this point. I know I've put in the work. I know I'm going to run a fast time. And the only way I can screw this up is by freaking out and overanalyzing it and trying to do too much this week and not sleeping enough, not eating enough. So I'm just chilling at this point. It is what it is. The battle, 90% of the battle is done at this point. I put in the work. I mean, let's just acknowledge. Go through this plan. What is this? 8 straight weeks of 75 plus miles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I believe I had a week before this where I hit 75. Maybe I didn't. You'd have to check my Strava. But 7, 8 straight weeks of averaging over 75 miles. And now hitting a 66-mile week with that feeling like, wow, that's not even that much. I'm very proud of where I've come so far since I made this plan and how we're looking now. So again, just trying to keep my mind off of things this week, taper up, eat good, sleep good, and that is the name of the game. So with that being said, I'm going to hop into some things in the chat. Again, if anyone has any last-minute questions you want to shoot me, I'm going to go through some of these comments, just make sure I didn't miss anything here before we sign off. So Paulina says you're going to do great next weekend. Thank you, pal. Yeah, Jaguar, I do not use running coach apps. Again, like I said, kind of just do my own thing, coach myself. Not saying everyone should do that. A lot of people have a coach. I would highly recommend getting a coach, but I might get a coach, honestly. Like, I am really good at kind of keeping myself in check as far as my, like, getting out the door every day and putting in my workouts and whatnot, but I think that, because even the best elite runners, they have coaches, and I'm very, very far from an elite runner, from the best elite runner. I'm far from being an elite runner too, but I think I might experiment with having a coach because it's something that I haven't had in a while, and I would like to kind of dip into what having a marathon coach would entail as far as my performance. So to be updated on that, but I do not have a coach. Except for Alex. Alex actually coaches me. Quick joke from Alex there. Appreciate the good luck, J Fitness. Delxino Gaming says, if you run 6 times per week, I recommend 2 quality faster workouts and rest easy. I think you would benefit from a separate tempo day and a VO2 max day. Yep, that's basically what I do with my harder workout being on either Tuesday or Wednesday, being my closer to VO2 max session, and then my tempo being later in the week, either Friday or Saturday. So VO2 max or not even really VO2 max, lactate threshold more so on the Tuesday. Sometimes my paces close in more on VO2 max if I'm doing like a K workout or mile repeats, but 2x3 mile, that's more of a lactate threshold workout, not really a VO2 max type day. Paulina Madrigal says, it was not the best decision, but I agree your marathon is not going to be on a treadmill, but still not so smart. Sort of agree with you there, but hey, sometimes you gotta sack up and get out the door, It's not always sunshine and rainbows in this world. Niles Delta says, that's some Vim hot stuff. Don't really know what you mean there, Niles. I think at that point I was talking about the complications I was facing out in the cold weather with only the half tights, but don't know what Vim hot stuff is, but that's an amazing near 5K PR set. Yeah, dude, it was pretty incredible. The fact that I almost PR'd in the 5K, like 10 seconds off in a workout on the second set on a hilly course when the wind chill was -3 degrees. I mean, pretty impressive. Paulina says, not Chipotle, yeah. So Chipotle, again, is not the best pre-run, but pre-run meal the night before for one reason or another, we'll say. Gosh, yeah, I'm getting into some kind of controversial topics in this live stream, so I apologize for being gross. But anyways, Alex says, okay, but all-out mile when? Should I do an all-out mile, guys? I wonder what I could go. I'm definitely not in PR shape for the mile. I've run a 4:29 mile in college, but I think I could run sub 4:40 if I had to right now, off of basically no speed training. The fastest training I've done is Ks. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll play around and do some fun stuff after this marathon, some fun, more track stuff. So to be discussed there for the all-out mile. Delxino Gaming says Chipotle has good protein, depends on what you get. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, has good protein. It definitely has carbs from the rice, but yeah, if you get a bunch of like corn and like pico de gallo and like green salsa, which tastes delicious, it doesn't digest that well, and it depends on the person too. Like, I'm just not the best guy to be having Chipotle and then doing a long run the next day. Like, just doesn't work for me. It might work for you. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it will or will not, but me, I know my body, and I'm going to avoid it for hard efforts going forward. So Niall says, what time do you go to bed before the last few days before a big race? Thanks, Shane, you're showing us how it's done. I appreciate that, Niall. So I kind of just try to go to bed the same time every night regardless. The few days leading up towards a race, probably try to get into bed maybe an hour earlier than usual just to make sure I have enough time to get to sleep and all that. So I would say say I typically go to bed at 11 p.m., which is true. It's typically around there. This week, I'll be trying to get to bed at, probably 10 p.m. and understanding that it might take me an extra 20 or 30 minutes to fall asleep at night just with, knowing the race is coming up, or maybe it won't. Maybe I'll sleep like a baby and that'd be great. But I'd recommend probably an hour just to make sure that you're getting that extra sleep if you can and giving yourself extra time to get to sleep if it takes you a little bit of extra time, this being taper week with the nerves and all that and whatnot. So probably about an hour. That's what I'm going to shoot for. But maybe it won't be an hour. Maybe it'll just be 30 minutes. We'll see. Wim Hof is the Dutch cold weather training guy. Oh, I think I've seen him on Instagram Reels or something like that. We'll miss your live streams. Yeah, Niles. Hey, I'll live stream in the future. It's just going to be the end of this little series here. I had a good time doing this throughout. I mean, I know it's only been 3 weeks, but I had a good time with it, and I think I got some pretty good engagement and whatnot. And, you guys can always go back and look at the old videos. They've been posted to my live tab on my YouTube, so you can go back and watch these live streams. And it's been kind of fun to just go through the week and give you my thoughts and whatnot. It might be boring for a lot of people, but I found it a little helpful, and hopefully you guys have found it entertaining at least. So Sam Dixon Running says, you should be a coach. Maybe someday, Sam. I think I've learned quite a bit about the marathon. I think I could be a great coach someday, but still got a lot to learn, still got a lot to do. The job ain't finished, as Kobe would say. Thank you, Connor. Appreciate the let's go there. Hope you're doing good, man. Thank you also, Matt. Got 1 week, guys, and then we're going to do it. And then I'll stop talking about a freaking sub 2:30 marathon because I've been talking about this for too long. So appreciate it, Niles. Thanks, man. Sean Ricky says, how did you choose your race workout shoes? That's a good question. So I have loved the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2s. And I really wanted to race in those. The half marathon I ran a few weeks back, or actually a few months back. It was last October. I ran in the the Vaporfly 2s. And so I wanted to run in those for this marathon, but they had a little bit too many miles on them. They're like 150 miles or so on them. So I decided to opt for getting a new pair, and it's very hard to find a reasonable price on the Vaporfly 2s right now just because they're onto the Vaporfly 3s. And long story short, I ended up wanting to stick with the Vaporfly line but try out the Vaporfly 3s. So I actually got those in last week. I got a good deal on them online. Ran that 2x3 mile workout I was talking about earlier in the week in the Vaporfly 3s. And yeah, it's just sort of like I know what kind of shoes I like to run in, and I'll just get new ones as I need them, as the miles stack up on them. And like I said, I would have ran in the Vaporfly 2s, but they had too many miles on them from past races, so I ended up getting the Vaporfly 3s, and that's why I decided as far as what I'm going to run. Thanks for the good luck as well, Sean. Sam Dixon Running says, thoughts on zero drop? I'm assuming you're meaning like zero drop running shoes. So, yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts at this point in time. I know that like the heel drop is obviously a lot higher on the faster shoes. So, Sam, are you referring to zero drop for training or for actual like racing shoes? Because most of the shoes I run in have some sort of heel drop, and they've worked for me. I think a lot of it could be a personal thing. Like, just because I wear a certain shoe and I don't get injured in them and I love them doesn't mean that you should be wearing that same shoe and you'll be completely fine in that shoe. So, yeah, training and strengthening feet. Okay. Yeah, like the Talahumara. I don't even know how to fully pronounce the name of that tribe. But, yeah, I have heard about them. There is something to be said for barefoot running, and I used to do a ton of barefoot running, and I don't have great access to like a turf or a warm indoor facility to get in a lot of indoor running on a turf surface anymore. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to do as much, but I used to do a ton in the past, and there is something to be said for the just strengthening the tiny little tendons and little bones in your feet and really running with proper form, because when you're used to putting on a high heel drop trainer and going out on concrete or limestone, whatever it is, your form could struggle a little bit because you have all that cushion in your shoe, and you can kind of slap your heel into the ground and not feel it as much with all that cushion. But when you're forced to run barefoot, when you're forced to get on a turf or a soft grass sort of surface, it does help to run with no shoes, just because you can really focus on form and build those tiny little bones and tendons in your feet that are not built during normal runs with a high drop trainer out on the concrete. So I won't have too much more to comment on as far as zero drop. Maybe that would help you in certain instances as far as your running form and building up some muscles that need build up if you have some sort of weakness, but certainly wouldn't recommend a ton of zero drop shoe running on concrete. I would think maybe more so of a crushed limestone or a grass or a trail sort of surface, just to make sure that you're not hurting yourself, especially if you're doing high mileage. Like, humans weren't necessarily made to run on concrete, so that's kind of why we've developed these sort of thicker foams and these higher tech running shoes and whatnot. And the fact of the matter is, if you're running like 80-mile weeks, or I've been doing 75 miles in 6 days for the past almost 8-9 weeks, I'm gonna opt for a shoe that has a lot of foam, and it just is what it is. Again, I don't have access to be running on barefoot grass all the time. I do have a nice towpath trail where I can run on a little softer surface, but I'm gonna wear the shoes that work for me, which are not necessarily zero drop shoes. So wow, I just talked about something I hardly know about for like 5 minutes there, but there's your comment on zero drop shoes. So Kev says, what percentage running of all kinds compared to dedicated gym workouts for legs? Just about 99% running versus gym work, Kev. Not a big gym work guy. Yada yada yada. Matt, what does Connor think about barefoot running? Yeah, Connor, what do you think about barefoot running? No, okay, funny story, if Connor doesn't mind me going in on him with this, which I'm really not. So Connor is an old teammate of mine. We went to different colleges, but we ran at the same high school. And one time we did a 14-mile, might have been 15. Correct me if I'm wrong. We did a 14-mile long run on the beach. We were on vacation, and we were on the beach. And, 14 miles was a ton for us back in the day. That was like a really long run, right? And to do it barefoot on the beach was not maybe the smartest idea. So I think we both struggled with some calf discomfort and some, I don't know, Connor, I forget the full story, but he might have gotten a stress fracture that started a series of problems. But that's a good point. You definitely don't want to be stupid with barefoot running, and you definitely don't want to go out there and do what we did and run 14 miles in no shoes on the beach. So you got to be careful. Sprinkle it in a little bit. Do a little 3-4 miles on some soft turf if you want. Wear your zero drop shoes 1 or 2 days a week, but don't go out running 15 miles on the beach barefoot, and don't go slamming your feet into the concrete with zero drop shoes for a 20-mile long run. That's just my advice. Anyhow, appreciate the good luck there, Niles. I, of course, will let you guys know how it goes next week. Again, we'll not be doing a live stream, but I will have one video come out this week before next Sunday, which again is my race. It's going to be on my 5 favorite marathon workouts of all time. So I got that coming out. That should be exciting. Should be out hopefully by Friday. We'll see how much time I have this week to work on it, but it's already pretty much halfway done. So that'll be exciting. And look at that, guys, 7:02. I said I was going to cut off at 7 o'clock, so it went a little bit long. But, again, cannot express enough gratitude for the support on this channel. And, thank you guys so much for everything. It's crunch time now. It's clutch time. We got 1 week taper, and then we're doing the damn thing. So, real quick from Super Trebo. Hey, how's it going, Shane? Good luck on the Sub 230 marathon. I wanted to ask you, I know strength training is important for runners. Do you think heavy bench press upper body work can slow you down? Super Trey, first of all, thank you so much for the good luck. I really appreciate it. As far as strength training, I do think heavy bench especially could be a little bit overrated and could slow you down, especially if you're doing it a ton and working that upper body strength. So that's the short answer of it. I do plan to have another training talk, a full dedicated video on strength training for runners at some point. I'm not going to get into it now, but that's the short of it there, Super Trebo. But thanks again for the good luck. And thank you, Matt, as well. So that's it, guys. Going to cut off the chat at this point. We'll see you next week. Wish me luck. And thanks again for everything. Go Bills tonight. They're making it to the Super Bowl. Hopefully the Eagles don't go all the way. And hopefully the Chiefs don't win. So thanks again, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And peace out.